You have the vision. You know exactly how you want your event to feel. But somehow it doesn't feel ready. You're working on the event, you're thinking about the event, and yet registration isn't live, pages aren't connecting, and emails aren't firing the way they're supposed to. Most hosts tell themselves that this is a time management issue or a confidence issue. But your event isn't being stalled because of lack of discipline. It's being stalled because the setup is being treated like a back-end task instead of what it really is. And when your setup stays open, everything slows down, even if your vision is solid. If this feels familiar, I want you to know something right away. There is nothing wrong with you. Most events don't stall because something was broken or because something fell. They stall because the setup never became a priority. On paper, the event looks clear. The format has been decided, the flow makes sense, and you know what you're creating. But underneath this clarity, there's this low-grade tension because until the setup is complete, it doesn't really feel, and that unfinished feeling follows you. It follows you into client meetings, into the evenings where you're supposed to be feeling calm and relaxed, into moments when you're not actively planning for your event, but it still lingers in the back of your mind. This isn't chaos, it's something quieter than that. It's lingering. Here's something that most hosts don't realize. Planning feels expansive, but setup feels constrictive. Planning lives in possibility. Setup lives in precision. Planning lets you think, refine, and imagine. Setup, on the other hand, asks you to decide, connect, and to finish. So when your energy drops the moment you open up a new tech platform, that's not procrastination, that's friction. You might tell yourself things like, I already know what needs to happen. I just need a clean block of time. I'll do this once everything else is handled. What's actually happening is that the setup is being pushed to the side and avoided because it feels heavier than all your other work. And when it's avoided, that just leaves it open. Here's the part that quietly weighs you down. When the setup isn't finished, it never fully removes itself from your mental space. You're still tracking things in your head. You're still bracing for questions. Still holding on to decisions that haven't been installed anywhere yet. Even if you're ahead on content or ideas, the back end is still pulling you back to it. And that's why the event starts to feel heavier over time. Not because it was too big, but because it's unfinished. And the longer that the setup stretches on, the momentum dulls, not visibly, but internally. If you're feeling that your event is feeling mentally louder and heavier than it should, this is exactly the point where clarity helps. I have a free event systems ROI audit that is designed to show you where your back end is doing too much and where it's not supporting you yet. This isn't about fixing anything, and it's definitely not about judging you or how you're doing things currently. It simply helps you identify where the strain is coming from, whether that's systems, tech, or logistics. This way, you're no longer guessing or blaming yourself. You can find it linked down below in the description. Here's a quiet reframe that changes everything. Setup is not a background task. It's a build phase. Builds don't move forward when they're treated as flexible or optional. They move forward when they have boundaries. A start, a finish, a clear container. When setup is treated as something to manage around, it stays open, and open loops continue to multiply. But when setup is treated as something to finish, momentum begins to return. Not because you worked harder, but the structure is there to support you. This is where many hosts realize I was never behind. I just never gave myself an actual finish date. And once you recognize this, something important happens in your leadership. You stop interpreting that stall as a personal failure. You stop questioning your discipline or confidence, and instead you realize the truth, that this was a structural issues, and structural issues have solutions. When setup is completed decisively, planning feels lighter, and communicating gets easier. You lead with steadiness instead of urgency. And that confidence doesn't come from motivation, it comes from finished decisions. If this helped you feel why your event might be feeling a little bit heavier than it should, then these matter. Because once setup delays are neutral, the next question begins to be, what is this delay costing me in energy, momentum, and decision making? The next video is on your screen now. Go ahead and click it because that's where we're going to start talking about how stretching your setup out for weeks is going to cost you and why it quietly drains far more than it saves you. And if you find this conversation helpful, go ahead and be sure to subscribe so you don't miss out. And I'll see you in the next video.